Well, we're in the woods.
That's true. I think they gather.
We're, yeah, we're in deep nature today, so I feel like talking more about the elementals and forest spirits.
Gonna show everyone what you're holding in your hand right now.
Yeah, I'm holding staff. It was gifted by my husband. Um, but yeah, it's a beautiful little staff. But yeah, it helps with all kinds of things. I would say a staff is a tool that attunes you to the land. Some people use it for, support while walking and stuff, but I kind of use it to navigate certain energies underneath the ground because the land holds a lot of energy. I want to talk more about ancestral lands
Mm.
and how walking on certain places can repair certain frequencies as well. But yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the elemental spirits. What are they, and how do we enter into a conscious relationship with these sorts of things? Because I think a lot of people, the notion of communing with plant spirits, or it's very foreign to them. But communing with animal spirits, for example, when they're talking to a dog or a cat, that's a very intuitive sort of notion for a lot of people. But um, elementals, on the other hand, I think it takes a bit of time, particularly in our current paradigm, to really comprehend what that's like. So,
I feel that the elementals are beyond our comprehension and cannot be connected to with your mental mind. It can be connected with your crown chakra specifically. So your crown chakra, which is right here, um, kind of acts like an antenna and transmutes certain frequencies. And how you connect with them is that you start feeling sensations in your body. So, for example, like this tree over here, right? If I telepathically talk to it or I say hello, and it doesn't speak English, obviously, but what I will start feeling is I will start feeling the tree's energy, like its loving energy wrap around me. Or if the tree is sad, for example, let's say the tree has endured trauma or has witnessed a lot of calamity, I will start feeling the tree's density. So it's like my body and the tree's body becomes one. And through that oneness, it allows me to witness what it has witnessed. So it's like morphing. Um, with the tree. This might be very complicated for some people to understand, but if you're on this frequency, you probably know what I'm talking about.
mm.
Um,
so if we could describe the way in which we convene or communicate with an elemental spirit, such as
mhm.
an earthly spirit, like a tree, um, to translate it into sort of terms which um, people might understand or resonate with, would you say there's a kind of a, a fixation or a shift of your attention to the tree to establish a kind of connection? Because, of course, to connect with anything, whether it's even ourselves, the sensations in our body, there has to be a movement of attention to that sort of place. And I think um, one reason why it seems so strange and impractical for a lot of people to communicate with trees or plant spirits is that they never really put their attention, they never really pay their attention to the plant in that kind of manner. You know, just sort it's one thing of like just looking at a tree, but when you look at a tree with an intention to really see the tree, um, I think that's where stuff happens. You know, that's when you start becoming, open and receptive towards being, I suppose, surprised.
Yeah. I feel that certain people are not at that level of awareness, which is necessary, to connect with the elementals. That's why it is a different kind of it's a different sector of things. Each of us have a special gift that a special ability that we are naturally more attuned towards. The elementals are not for everyone. That's what I will clear out. So if you're here, that means that you're a particular collective that is drawn to elemental energy. You resonate with the fae or trees or land spirits and stuff like that. It's a different part of the ether. So if you are here, you're already subconsciously conscious of the abilities to connect with these beings. For example, the phenomena that me and you have been facing recently a lot is that butterflies,
Mm.
which is a very fae thing, um, very elemental things because it has wings. Birds and just beings that can fly are very attracted to us currently. He had a butterfly, yeah, bees as well.
Please.
Also, if there's a lot of bees swarming around you, it's probably a sign that you're on a very high frequency and it's not there to sting you. But yeah,
Mm.
protect yourself if you need to.
Yeah,
But
that's an interesting thing.
yeah,
Because often, well, everyone I've ever witnessed growing up, when they encounter a bee, there's always a fear that they're going to sting you, right? And that's one thing I've noticed in myself. It's an intuitive fear of stinging, but then it's not mine. And it actually, that fear really does, like in every sort of relationship that you have, um, human or non-human, it impairs you
there's a
from.
bee right near you as you're.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what we're talking about,
But
pretty much.
like the fear that it's going to sting us is often ungrounded, right? Um, if we can be really still with the animal and you relate to it with a kind of a certain a loving detachment, maybe you put it, whether it stings you or stings you, whether it stings you or doesn't sting you, it doesn't really matter. You're sort of just witnessing the animal.
Yeah,
I find that the animal or the insect or whatever, they can sense your energy. Obviously they do. Obviously, if you're like a dog, people that understand this with dogs, because we've co-evolved with dogs. We've domesticated them, so people naturally have a certain affinity to dogs. But when the animal gets more stranger, when they become less resembling of humans, like a tree, people cut themselves off from any possibility of relationship. But people forget that we all originate from the same substrate of existence itself, right?
yeah,
So you're never, of course, truly separated from people, or things or nature. And when you first, well, a lot of people may intellectually accept that. They accept that as a mental notion. Oh yeah, quantum entanglement, the universe is one. But they never allow themselves to, as an embodied experiencing being, to experience that oneness as an idea that, you know, if you are connected but dissociated from a thing, how do you reduce that dissociation, that perceived separateness, to really be at one with something? And people can do that with a person, like a loved one. They become one, they enter a flow with another person, and there's just this beautiful dance and
yeah,
coherence and stuff.
yeah,
And that can happen. It happens with, humans and humans, because there's that similarity. It's a different kind of coherence with, a human and a cat. And it's a different kind of coherence or resonance
the
of
tree.
relationship with a tree,
Yeah,
and or with the ether, with the space around you, with everything around you.
yeah,
But that's a lot there to, sink your teeth into. But I want to sort of take us into, okay, first we're relating to the nature spirits. What do we do, or how do we perceive the glimpses of communication? Like, what is that like for you? Or it's probably going to be different for each different person. Sometimes it speaks not through words, but with feelings in your body. Right?
I think for me personally, I'm gonna give you my example is when I started off. You start off by just sitting in a nature-filled place. No expectations, you're not looking to talk to anyone, nothing. You just sit and soak in the presence of the nature. Once you develop a routine with that of sitting in nature, your body starts expanding awareness and you start subconsciously and consciously realizing and noticing the living presences around you in a very organic way. For example, if there's a cat next to you, right, you will know there's a cat next to you, even if it's behind you and you can't see it, right? We have recognition in seen and unseen peripheral visions. So it's kind of like that. Like you will start noticing or feeling. I'm not talking mental, I'm talking in your body. You will start feeling the tree near you or behind you, and then it grows more. So that will be like an initial contact. Or another thing that I notice happen very frequently around me is leaves fall, there will be strong winds and the leaves would just start falling on me, or a certain tree branch, there's no wind and it will start bending towards me, but there's no wind. So sometimes if the trees or the fae like you, they will make it obvious. Like you will start noticing things that a normal person would not notice because you're on that frequency that vibrates on a higher level where you can view these things. The difference between people who can see all of this and the people who cannot see all of this is just frequency. It's just frequency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to particularly the frequency component, if people find it sort of, not intuitive that this is the case. I remember coming across these studies where they would grow plants and change and select the type of music that's in the background
Yeah.
whilst the plant is growing, and they will find that different styles, different frequencies of music will affect the speed, the health of the plant, the manner in which it grows, whether it's in a compromise or growing state, if it's growing with heavy metal music
Yeah.
versus say like classical music, which is very
Ground.
melodic and grounding and
Yeah.
very soothing.
Yeah.
Frequency or vibration, that I think people throw these words around very lightly, but they don't really understand what they're saying. They say they hear it, it sounds cool and spiritual, but they don't know what it's like to say in a deep yogic trance, witness your entire map of body sensation dissolve and converge on a whole encompassing buzz, and there's a rhythm to that buzz sometimes. And, we know what pins and needles are, that's just how a kind of vibration,
Yes.
localized to a particular. And then we also know what the feeling of bliss is, the warmth of being at peace and not having to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy that so many of us are cut off from nature and cut off from its natural restorative presence.
Yeah.
That there's been scientific studies that showing that being in nature is good for your blood pressure and your stress hormones and yada yada yada. We don't need a scientific study to tell us that being in your primordial birthright is going to be regenerative for you.
It's like saying water is really healthy for you.
And it's like what we've done with humans, we've taken them out of their natural habitat, put them in an artificial and sickening habitat, like the concrete prison, the concrete zoo of the city. And then when we realize that, when we take these like traumatized humans and put them in a bit of nature, it actually helps them a little bit. Oh, wow, this is crazy. Let's make a study out of this.
Yeah. We've just been a little disconnected from our roots. So, it's always a good idea when you feel ungrounded or disorientated. That means you've been in technology a bit too much and you just have to return back. It's not a bad thing or a good thing because some people can get mortified if you tell them that. It's just you can return back to yourself kind of a thing, and returning back to self means returning back to nature because that's where you're from.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's a beautiful place to sign off this
Yeah.
little video. So return back to nature, return to simple, slower ways of living, because we're fundamentally not adapted to this fast, go, high pace, everything now kind of culture. It's caffeine consciousness. It burns you out and it leaves you in this restless and agitated and very unfulfilled kind of state, you know? And I think a lot of people will resonate with that. And, but they don't know what the solution is. And that's
They do now after watching
Yeah.
this video.
true. And the solution is to return to yourself, choose more nature-filled environments, really give yourself the opportunity to relax and not having to be burdened or worried about something, but we can talk a bit more about that in the next video. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.